Shalom, my brothers and sisters. Shalom, my brothers, my sisters, my family. This is man's final steps. Yes, indeed, end times have arrived, my brothers and sisters. Man's final steps is a continuing series to those who will be among the ranks of the 144,000 in multitude mentioned in Revelations chapters 7 and 14. Today is February 1st, 2014. For many of you, if you are listening today, I want to say to you, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Peace on this Shabbat, this day of rest. My name is Symmanayah, and in this segment of Man's Final Steps, it is entitled Intense Times, Humility, Obedience, Strength. Again, it is entitled Intense Times, Humility, Obedience, Strength. My brothers and sisters, the last days have brought to us end times. End time prophecies foretell of famine, drought, pestilence, and disease. You have heard me state, if you have listened before, that in the wake of these will come chaos, civil unrest, turmoil, increased violence, economic collapse, and much, much more. In the wake of such catastrophes, men, women, and children will lose confidence in leaders, from government to community leaders, to religious leaders, to leaders amongst the body of believers. Confidence will become questionable as these catastrophic events unfold. I am compelled to repeat that in the midst of famine, drought, and pestilence will come many whirlwinds and storms, including winter and snowstorms. Yes, while these words and messages may seem redundant or too repetitive to many, consider them warnings. Just as a flashing light or siren on an emergency vehicle continues to flash and echo sounds of warning, so it is with these messages I present. What I've described regarding end times will produce refining moments for the children of obedience, those who will be among the ranks of the 144,000 in multitude, those who will be alive to see the two witnesses of Revelation emerge. We have entered into man's final steps. During these last days, these end times, comes a sequence of experiences. I believe with all my heart, with all my mind, with all my body, with all my existence, that end times will prove to bring intense times. Yes, there will be very intense times, and they will bring with them humility, obedience, and strength among the children of obedience. Humility will weaken the strong-willed and stiff-necked and or fleshly resistance to righteous commands and orders. Yes, and obedience will come in the wake of humility and result with our eyes being made clear and our ears open. Strength will be embraced when we realize it will not be by our power nor by our might. It will only be by the word and power of the Spirit of Yahushua that we live and function as the Almighty Father Yahuwah see fit. I will now present the following highlights. Sequencing how intense times resulted in a display of humility, obedience, and strength. Consider the days of Noah. Intense time. Here's an intense moment. And you, pray. I invite you to pray as I read this. Genesis 6, chapter 13, verse reads, And Elohim said to Noah, The end of all flesh hath come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them, and see, I am going to destroy them from the earth. Would you consider that a tense moment for Noah, to hear from the Almighty Father that he's getting ready to destroy man from the earth? Here's another verse, moving down to the 17th verse. Genesis 6, chapter 17th verse. And see, I myself am bringing flood waters on the earth to destroy all flesh, in which is breath of life from under the heavens. All that is on the earth is to die. Again, was this an intense experience for Noah? Humility. Genesis 6, 18 through 21. And I shall establish my covenant with you, and you shall come into the ark, you and your sons and your wife and your sons' wives with you. And all of the living creatures of all flesh, 2 of each, you are to bring into the ark to keep them alive with you, a male and a female. And of the birds after their kind, of the cattle after their kind, after all creeping creatures of the earth after their kind, 2 of each are to come to you and to keep them alive. As for you, take of all food that is eaten and gather it to yourself, and it shall be food for you and for them. Does this describe a humbling time? Does this describe a time of humility where Noah probably was weakened as a result of the Almighty Father saying he's going to destroy the world in terms of with floods? Can you agree that this was a humbling time? It was a time of humility for Noah to know that he would be spared, to know that he has a task to bring together and build an ark and bring together the living creatures that are described in this passage. Obedience. Genesis 6:22, and it says, and Noah did according to all that Elohim commanded him, so he did. So did we see a sequence of intense times, of a time of humility, a time of obedience? What about the days of Lot? Intense times. Genesis 19:13 reads, for we are going to destroy this place because the cry against them has grown great before the face of Yahuwah, and Yahuwah has sent us to destroy it. Do you think when Lot heard these words from the messengers of the Almighty Father, knowing that these were indeed messengers, Malachim, sent from the Almighty Father, do you think it was an intense time for Lot to know that Sodom and Gomorrah was getting ready to be destroyed? Humility. Genesis 19:15 through 15 and 16 and 19 and 20. And when morning dawned, the messengers urged Lot to hurry, saying, get up, take your wife and your 2 daughters who are here, lest you be consumed in the punishment of the city. And while he loitered, the men took hold of his hand and his wife's hand and the hands of his 2 daughters, Yahuwah having compassion on him, and they brought him out and set him outside the city. Can we agree it was a time of humility where this grown man, Lot, his grown wife, and his children were so weak, they became so humble that they yielded. They had to be led by the hand by the messengers of the Almighty Father. Is this a display of humility taking place? Genesis 19:19 and 20. Look, please, your servant hath found favor in your eyes, and you have increased your kindness, which you have shown me, by saving my life. But I am unable to escape to the mountains, lest calamity overtake me and I die. Look, please, this city is near enough to flee, and it is small. Please let me escape there. Is it not a small matter, and let my life be saved? Do these sound like the words of a humbled man, making a request and a plea before the Almighty Father Yahuwah? I submit to you they are. So we see an intense moment, we see at times of humility. Let us think and look at obedience. Genesis 19:29 said, thus it came to be when Elohim destroyed the cities of the plain that Elohim remembered Abraham and sent Lot out of the midst of the overthrow when he overthrew the cities in which Lot had dwelt. So to just describe that there was a degree of obedience resulting in Lot being saved and his family being saved from their destruction, with the exception of his wife who looked back. Yes, my brothers and sisters, both with Noah and with Lot, I submit to you there was a sequence of experiences from intense times to humility to obedience. And as the scripture says, like in the days of Noah and Lot, so will it be in these end times. Let me read to you Matthew 24:37 and 38. And as the days of Noah, so also shall the coming of the Son of Adam be. For as they were in the days before the flood, eating, drinking, marrying, and giving into marriage, unto the day that Noah entered into the ark. I submit to you, my brothers and sisters, there will be no pre-tribulation rapture. There will, however, be a gathering from the four corners of the earth. The 144,000 and the multitude, those who have been chosen and designated by the Almighty Father, will be directed to a safe and appointed place. Moving on, like in the days of Noah, like in the days of Lot. Luke 17:28 through 30 reads, "And likewise, as it came to be in the days of Lot, they were eating, they were drinking, they were buying, they were selling, they were planting, they were building. But on the day Lot went out of Sodom, it rained fire and sulfur from heaven and destroyed all. It shall be the same in the day of the son of Adam is revealed." So we see in Matthew 24:37 and 38, and Luke 17:28 through 30, like in the days of Noah and Lot, so will it be in these end times. I submit to you, just as in the days of Noah and Lot, there was intense times, there were humility. It was a time of humility, a time of obedience, and a time when we saw a demonstration of strength. My brothers and sisters, by now I pray you are coming to see clearly and hear better, for we are indeed in the midst of man's final steps. Soon we will discover movement from places we will never return to again. Yes, we will be forced to move, and I am compelled to believe that we will watch the habitable places of the earth become uninhabitable. In other words, they will not be worth living in. I am compelled to believe we will see many deaths. Over 3.6 billion people will die during the Great Tribulation. And in these deaths, those lands in which these individuals occupy will become uninhabitable. I am compelled to believe, yes, end times are over the horizon with intensity. They have begun now, but the intensity levels will increase with each passing moment. We are beyond types and shadows. We are beyond many, many days of which we think we have. The fact of the matter, my brothers and sisters, the days have been shortened. It has begun, and end times are here. Soon we will discover forced transitions, movement, ordered steps. We will see the 144,000 in multitude be gathered, refined, and guided to an appointed safe place. As I have mentioned in times past, that place will be somewhere in the region of the true Mount Sinai, a place that is now commonly known as Jabal al-Lawz in the northern part of Saudi Arabia. Somewhere within that region, I am compelled to believe the children of obedience, the 144,000 in multitude, will be guided. I have mentioned regarding those who are in the United States that I believe that there will be a gathering in the state of Virginia prior to going towards that final step, that final destination. I am compelled to believe that there are brothers and sisters who will be among the 144,000 in multitude, who will begin to move towards the outermost borders of their prospective countries, only to end up finally in the Mount Sinai, the true Mount Sinai area, an area now known as Jabal al-Lawz. Pray and watch, my brothers and sisters. Living guidance, living proof, real orders and commands. There will be elders that will rise among those of us who consider ourselves children of the obedience. Remember, the Almighty Father Yahuwah, He has not appointed the children of obedience to wrath. There's a level of destruction that will reach such an intensity that it will indeed be described as the wrath of the Almighty Father. But before we reach that level of intensity that will be defined as His wrath, there will be intense times for us, which we will be guided out of the way. We will, however, experience trying times, times of refinement, and witness the building up that will lead to the hand of the Almighty Father's Yahuwah's wrath. Some of us will prematurely think we're in the midst of His wrath when the intensity levels begin to enlarge. I submit to you the wrath that we are not appointed to be a part of is the ultimate threshold of destruction at the hand of the Almighty Father. So just because we may get a taste of what's to come, that does not mean we have been abandoned. We are to be refined, perfected. We are to endure. We are to seek to worship and obey and recognize His guidance, His direction. We are to be able to discern and understand His chosen leaders and move accordingly. Again, there are appointed individuals who will be among the children of obedience who will be guided to safety, but not all will be in these ranks. For some will be ordered to shelter and stay in place. Some will be martyrs. They will die for the reign of Yahushua, as scriptures foretell. The 144,000, along with others who fit the description of the multitude coming out of the great tribulation, will be gathered from the four corners of the earth to a safe and appointed place, as I mentioned earlier. I present to you examples of what to expect regarding the rise of intense times, something that I've mentioned before. But here's a list of some things that I consider to be intense. Shock and awe when food shortages and water shortages bring uncertainty to your face, to our face, to our families, communities, and beyond. When this reality becomes more visible, I describe that as an intense time. When forced movement calls many to scramble and react, running to and fro, moving in all directions, with the exception of those who will listen and be led by the Spirit of Yahushua, or through His chosen guides. I consider that an intense time, people forced to move. As end time prophecies becomes too real, and the desire to find who really is being led by the Spirit of Yahushua becomes very challenging. This will be an intense time, for people will be running with a sense of urgency, trying to find righteous leaders, trying to find the righteous group, trying to find safety. When reaching loved ones and or witnessing loved ones betray you, in many instances, many loved ones will not be found. Some will die, some will get with the wrong crowd, some will frantically be reacting to forced movement in the midst of massive fleeing and destruction, and there will be some that will be obedient and would have gone as the Spirit of Yahushua has guided. This will be an intense time as parents, family members seek out their loved ones only to find that they are gone. When righteous orders and commands become visible, many of us are not used to people ordering us around, commanding us to do something. But I submit to you, my brothers and sisters, the time where righteous orders and commands will become visible, we will see the chosen of the Spirit of Yahushua executing right rulings and judgments. We will see them establish structure and discipline among those that will be gathered. We will see them demonstrate the need to be ready and respond with urgency. They will appear to be intolerant to some, unloving, and not filled with humility. But I submit to you as the Spirit of Yahushua, our Master, so orders and commands will come, right rulings will be executed. This will be intense times. Traveling from one location to the next as the gathering reflects small groups, merging into a larger group, and continuing on until what is described in scriptures are fulfilled. During these times, during these transitions, leaders will pass the baton, so to speak. As the ranks become larger, the elders and leaders, as structured, as guided by the Spirit of Yahushua, will fulfill the chosen task at hand. Pray and watch. The two witnesses of Revelation will make up the final leaders, the final shepherds of the 144,000 and multitude who will be gathered from the four corners of the earth. This will be an intense time. When the two witnesses venture to the true Jerusalem, and fulfill the final 3.5 years of their ministry, this will be an intense time. Adjusting and adapting to a change in habits, dress, diets, the way and what we drink, as well as various practices that we thought were true, adjusting and adapting to what would be so ordered by the Spirit of Yahushua, it would be a challenge for many who thought what they were doing were correct and only to discover they were off. Pray and watch, for proof will come. This I consider an intense time. When we witness the death of loved ones, witnessing those who many thought were righteous being reproved, exposed, and or killed, in order to witness proof of whom the Spirit of Yahushua is using. Remember, in days of old, we have seen where death at the word of the Almighty Father resulted in those who would be obstacles in the way of his orders. Meeting and adjusting to strangers from all nations, kindreds, and tongues, with the same goal to worship and obey the Almighty Father Yahuwah, who will be led by the Spirit of Yahushua as we are gathered. So meeting a bunch of strangers, this will be an intense time, trying to adjust, adapt, as habits, as we are brought into a unified bunch, a refined and perfected body that demonstrate unity as the Spirit of Yahushua so orders, as he works through us, one towards another and through his leaders, to bring about the formation of the 144,000. This will be an amazing and intense time. There will be many more intense things we will experience, and it will happen, my brothers and sisters. It will come to be by the Spirit of Yahushua that we will be able to endure. My brothers and sisters, out of all that I have just described, is it safe to say we will be weakened in the midst of intense times? Can we agree that our fleshly bodies, our mental state, our physical condition will be weakened in the midst of all that will come to be? Yes, we will become physically exhausted, spiritually exhausted, tired, weakened. I submit to you that there will be those who see clearly and hear that will be walking in obedience, and they may not experience the same level of intensity regarding weakness as I just described. There will be those with a ready mind, body, and soul to obey, to respond, and to be used as leaders. Remember, my brothers and sisters, weakness of the flesh, from mental to physical, will result in humility. During these end times, we will come to understand the need to experience righteous humility. It is through humility we discover more precise what the Spirit of Yahushua is saying to us, as well as his assemblies. For in our weakened state, we bow down before the Spirit of Yahushua. We yield. We learn to stop, to pause, to seek to listen and hear clearly. We learn to pursue with an earnest heart and mind discernment and understanding so that we may respond in obedience. Once we recognize intense times, become weakened, and face humility, then we discover more clearly the workings of the Spirit of Yahushua, whether it's directly or through those whom he has chosen. We will then move towards obedience. This will be an extreme time of shaping, refining, and establishing the formation of those who will be among the ranks of the 144,000 in multitude. As we are refined and move into obedience, the flesh will still be kicking against righteousness. Even in the midst of our weakened state, the flesh will continue to fight against the Spirit. There will be those who will challenge the chosen leaders sent by the Spirit of Yahushua, and this will lead to righteous proof emerging. Proof of those chosen to lead could emerge in many varying ways. One could be one who is an obstacle, one who would challenge the Almighty decisions, one who would fight against righteous guidance, may experience blindness. They could end up dropping dead, become crippled, swallowed up by the earth. It could be something subtle like a budding rod to something more severe. Remember, we do not control what methods the Most High Yahuwah used to prove whom he places in leadership. Scriptures teach us that it is a terrible thing to tempt the Most High Father Yahuwah. Let us not fall into these snares. Let us seek to worship and obey. Let us seek to discern and understand and respond with precision. If we are in any doubt, let us pursue a discerning mind to discover how we must respond. Let us know when to be silent. Speak when ordered to speak. I submit to you, we will come to know what it means to demonstrate obedience to our Almighty Father Yahuwah as guided by his set-apart Spirit sent in Yahushua's name. Now comes strength, not by our prowess, not by our abilities, not by our perceived might. Strength will come in the wake of intense times, humility, obedience. Strength will become visible. It will be strength only by the words of the Almighty Father Yahuwah. Through a set-apart Spirit sent in Yahushua's name, we will come to discover the strength we have in him. Yahushua, our Mashiach, our Messiah, will demonstrate directly in or through any of his chosen. We will witness awesome power and might of the Spirit of Yahushua working in us, through us, one towards another, and through his messengers, Malachim, in or chosen leaders and elders. Search the scriptures, my brothers, my sisters. Search the scriptures. There are many examples demonstrating the various means in which the power and strength of the Almighty Father came to be. As we begin to move in the strength of righteousness and the strength of righteous instructions, living guidance, many of us will begin to realize and appreciate reproof, discipline. We will come to understand the importance of right rulings and judgment as we press forward along this journey. Yes, it is a complex and challenging task, but we will endure, for scriptures will be fulfilled that foretells of the 144,000 and multitude. My brothers and sisters, this is not a game. There will be extreme, intense times ahead. I submit to you, intense times have already begun for many, for millions. Just because they have not reached our face does not mean that they are not occurring. But if you search and look around, you will not be hard-pressed to discover the proof. These are man's final steps. The 144,000 and multitude will not be some group that sprouts from infant to adulthood instantaneously. This will not happen in an instant. It's time to embrace the realities that we are in the midst of a process of refinement, a process that reflects the plan unfolding before our eyes, a process that is part of the plan of the Almighty Father Yahuwah. I strongly encourage each and every listener of these words to remember, it will not be about each of us seeking to say we are in the ranks of the children of obedience. It is not about us claiming to be one of the 144,000 or one who will be in the multitude. It will not be about us spreading words, trying to convince, arguing, debating with anyone as to the tasks that are given to us. I submit to you, my brothers and sisters, it will be by our actions, by our behaviors, by our display of obedience and worship. This will define whether or not we are among the ranks of the children of obedience. Our actions, our worship, our witness. These will define whether we will be among the ranks of the 144,000 or not. Yes, my brothers and sisters, pray and watch. Establish a ready mind to respond with accuracy. Be encouraged. Soon and very soon, these words will enlarge and prove to be of grave importance, if not already, to those who can see and hear what the Spirit is saying to us, as well as to the assemblies. Let he that has an ear hear what the Spirit of Yahushua is saying. End times are here, and with each passing moment, intense times are arising. We will witness these times bring humility, obedience, and strength. Proof will come with each passing moment. Until next time, my brothers, my sisters, my family, Continue to press closer to He who gives life. Continue to press closer to He who gives breath in a heartbeat and life more immeasurably. Yahusha is His name, our Mashiach, our Messiah. The set-apart Spirit sent in Yahusha's name by the Almighty Father, Yahusha, where our salvation comes. Continue to press forward towards Him. Continue to be encouraged. I pray that we're able to endure and endure to the end. I pray that we come to realize that in intense times, during intense times, there will be the sequence of humility. It will bring us to obedience, and we will witness the strength and power of the Spirit of Yahusha. The strength and power, the proof. We will come to know clearly the orders and commands that are given us. Until next time, my brothers and sisters, remember, this plan belongs to the Almighty Father, and it will come to be sooner than many of us realize. Stay tuned as this series, Man's Final Steps, continues. Until next time, shalom, shalom, shalom.